In 1994, when Sony released the original PlayStation, it revolutionized the gaming industry and kicked off a legacy that is still going strong more than 25 years later. As fans eagerly anticipate its latest generation of console, the PlayStation 5, I figured it's time to take a look at how the iconic brand came to be. This is the evolution of PlayStation. Originally, Sony intended to team up with the powerhouse and market leader at the time, Nintendo. Rather than introducing their own console, Sony planned to create a CD-based add-on for the hugely popular SNES. But since Nintendo wanted full licensing rights, Sony backed out. Fun fact, a prototype of the console that was created by the partnership of Nintendo and Sony, also known as the Nintendo PlayStation, was sold for $360,000. Just imagine if Nintendo and Sony still worked together, and there would be the Nintendo PlayStation Switch. We could play God of War, Mario, and Zelda games, all on the same console. The original PlayStation from 1994, or PS1 as it came to be known, was a massive hit. It became the first game console in history to sell more than 100 million units. Its main advantage over the competition was that it used CDs for all its games, as opposed to the heavy use of cartridges at the time. Whereas a cartridge could store maybe 12 to 15 megabytes of data, developers using CDs could store up to 650 megabytes. A memory card was required to save your game progress. The console's specifications meant better graphics and an overall improved gameplay experience. And yes, these were actually good graphics at the time. As a result, successful franchises like Final Fantasy actually switched from Nintendo to PlayStation. Classic games like Castlevania, Crash Bandicoot,
What have I got?
Metal Gear Solid also attracted a wide audience and showcased the superior performance of the console. The PS1 was pretty impressive as a standalone audio CD player too. It played discs with great clarity, and as such it served multiple uses, appealing to families and older generations. This tradition of dual purpose would be seen in later versions of the PlayStation, with the PS2 catering to DVDs and the PS3 serving as one of the cheapest Blu-ray players upon its release. Fun fact, did you know that the PlayStation controller was made much thicker than the flat controllers used by other consoles in order to feel more 3D? And that the symbols actually have a deeper meaning. The triangle refers to a viewpoint and the direction a player is headed. The square button indicates a piece of paper, which references the game's menu, while the circle and X buttons mean yes and no. Oh, and by the way, even though almost everybody calls it the X button, including me, its official name is the cross. Despite the video game industry being practically blown away by the PS1, the PlayStation 2 was arguably the jewel in Sony's crown. Released in the year 2000, it remains the highest-selling home video game console ever, with over 155 million units sold. It seamlessly made the transition from CD to DVD, meaning it could be used to watch movies as well as play games, and allowed for offline play with high-definition 3D visuals. Meanwhile, the PS2 memory card upped its capacity to 8 megabytes of storage. The controller was also improved with 2 analog sticks, allowing for greater degrees of movement. Much-loved franchises like Ratchet and Clank, God of War, Jak and Daxter found their feet with the PS2.
Don't let him get away!
While already popular series such as Grand Theft Auto saw a huge boost with the console's heightened power. For example, GTA 3 offered gamers a fully immersive sandbox-style game in 3 dimensions for the first time. Multiple accessories were released for the PS2 with limited success. They included the iToy camera, SingStar microphones, and buzzers, all of which increased the levels of interaction players experienced, for a short while anyway. With the introduction of the PlayStation 3 in 2006 came Sony's first real signs of trouble. Having made yet another transition, this time from DVD to Blu-ray, it became difficult for Sony to turn a profit thanks to its use of cutting-edge technology. They were already competing with the Nintendo Wii and Microsoft's Xbox 360 at this point, but lost out on many initial sales, mainly due to the PS3's high price point at launch, which was a whopping $499 for a 20GB model and $599 for a 60GB console. Regardless, 87.4 million PS3s were sold, and it eventually ended up outselling the Xbox 360. Upgrades over the previous models included Wi-Fi connectivity, wireless DualShock 3 controllers, and the use of the PlayStation Network and an online PlayStation Store. Gamers no longer had to use a memory card either, as game data could be stored on the system's internal hard drive. Motion controls remained popular for a short while, with the PlayStation's Move controller and upgraded eye camera trying to keep up with Microsoft's Kinect system. Some of the most groundbreaking and hugely technical games on the PS3 include The Last of Us, Skyrim, Uncharted 2, Red Dead Redemption, and Grand Theft Auto 5. Online gaming also became much more popular with games like Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 and Ultimate Team and FIFA games.
They pulled it back level with this goal.
When it came time for the next iteration of game consoles in 2013, Sony had learnt their lesson and gained high praise and support after announcing the PlayStation 4 would be $100 cheaper than the new Xbox One. The PS4 sold 1 million units within its first day, setting a record for the fastest-selling console in a 24-hour period. Owners of the PS4 benefited from stunning graphics with vibrant visuals and innovative software that allowed for streaming and sharing gameplay instantly on social media. PlayStation also released their on-demand system called PlayStation Now in 2014, allowing subscribers to access hundreds of mainstream and indie games from past and present. In addition to epic action-adventure games like Bloodborne, The Witcher 3, finally, Red Dead Redemption 2, Uncharted 4, and Horizon Zero Dawn. The rise of the PlayStation VR in 2016 allowed gamers to experience some titles in a convincing virtual reality setting. Plus, gamers were also given the option to experience their favorite games in even more detail with the arrival of the PS4 Pro and its 4K graphics with high dynamic range. PlayStation has always released upgraded or slimmer versions of its consoles in a trend that is often mirrored by its competitors. And finally, scheduled to launch in late 2020 is the PlayStation 5. Designs for the futuristic model have recently been released, but at the time of writing, no price point has yet been confirmed. Buyers can expect at least 825 gigabytes of storage and will be happy to know the system is backwards compatible, meaning they can run their PS4 games on it if they wish. The graphics are also expected to be incredible, and there are some very exciting titles coming for the PlayStation 5.
Don't fail me now.
Including Horizon Forbidden West,
I will be ready.
Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart, Kena, Bridge of Spirits, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and of course, Cyberpunk 2077.
Your moment to shine, kiddo. Good luck.
Unlike failed video game companies of the past like Atari, it appears as though PlayStation will continue to dominate the scene for some time to come. And that's fine by me. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave a like, and if you're new around here, why not take a second to subscribe and hit the bell icon.